My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe knows South Lake.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Obviously, this is Joe Knows South Lake. I am Joe Carlisle. It's so good to be here today. I absolutely love seeing you guys. Well, I love you seeing me. I wish I could see each and every one of you, but that's not the way TV works, okay? Got a great day. It's gorgeous out today. I want to encourage you to get out and enjoy the day. We are coming through this thing together. And that brings me to my gratitude check. Look, I'm a realtor with RE/MAX Titanium, and I am grateful for my company. Not necessarily RE/MAX, although I really like working for RE/MAX, biggest company in the world, sells more real estate than any other company. But my particular brokerage is operated by Steve and Darlene Miziano, and I got to tell you, they have created such a loving, encouraging culture. Never once, when I was sick, when I wasn't feeling it, or I was going through stuff and my production was off, did they ever make me feel less than or belittled than anybody else. Everything has always been encouraging to help me produce. And this isn't about business. This is about just being so grateful to have people like that in my life. People that make me better, not because they make me feel bad, but because they make me feel worthy. Does your employer make you feel worthy? Do your associates make you feel worthy? If they don't, man, have a conversation with them, or at least give me a call. You can at least vent, and maybe I can help you find some solutions to get to a place where your employers and your associates make you feel wealthy or worthy. Look, Steve and Darlene, if you're watching this, I really, really appreciate you. I love you deep down to my very bones, as I do each and every person that works for you. I don't have a single jerk in my office, not one single jerk. So if you're thinking of real estate, give me a call. But I have a great company. If you're in real estate and you're thinking of making a jump, give me a call. I can answer any of your questions. I really, really am grateful for the place I am with Steve and Darlene. Okay, deal of the day. Take a stroll down Montrose Street. Downtown Claremont is starting to open up. Many of those businesses have been open, but following the CDC guideline. As a matter of fact, Joe Knows South Lake and South Lake TV is going to go film. We're going to have a rerun on tomorrow. Tune in. It's regular 10 o'clock time, but we're going to go down there and feature several restaurants. As a matter of fact, this is the first filming. We're going to be learning a lot. This is the first filming of a recurring feature here on the show called Discover Downtown. We'll go to local downtowns and feature a couple of restaurants, 10 or 15 minutes, let you know who they are, where they are, what they do, what they're doing to open up. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a great time and a great segment. So tune in and watch for that. I can't tell you when it'll be yet, but I'll let you know. Okay, today's guest is Michaela McLean. Michaela McLean. She is Miss Florida. We've had her on the show before. An absolutely amazing, bright young woman. This is somebody I am so grateful to know her today, because I know she's going to go far. And at some level, I'm going to be able to say I knew her when she was just getting started. So we're going to go to commercial break. When we get back, we're going to be joined by Michaela, Miss Florida, USA. Talk to you in a minute.
Okay, so Noah wasn't aware, but we decided that we're going to take Noah's braces off today, just a few weeks early. Noah, we're going to take your braces off.
Is that okay?
You okay with that?
Yeah.
For real?
When I came into the orthodontist today, I had no idea that my braces were going to be taken off.
All right. You ready to do this? Okay, a little bit tight. I'm going to push on this tooth here, okay? Great job. He was in treatment for about a year just to fix some of the alignment of his upper and lower teeth. And yeah, we just surprised him. All right, are you ready to take a look? They look really, really good.
I finally get to feel what it feels like without braces anymore. I love my new smile and everything looks great.
And welcome back. As I promised, we are joined by the amazing, intelligent, sweet-spirited, beautiful Michaela McLean. She is obviously Miss Florida. We've had her on before. Highly educated, highly experienced, just an awesome person. And I wanted to bring her back because I was having a conversation with somebody last week or the week before, and they mentioned her some of the really cool stuff she's been doing during this COVID. Michaela, welcome back to Jono South Lake.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so wonderful to be back, and especially during this times, just to be able to meet virtually is still such a blessing.
It is, and it's a blessing for you because I understand you're at a beach in Florida, so you're going to be able to go enjoy on this gorgeous day some sand and surf and some fresh air. I'm jealous. I can't hate you because you're so sweet, but I am a little jealous.
I mean, you have to really take every opportunity you can to get outside, get some sunshine, get some fresh air, especially when we've been quarantined for so long. I mean, I am truly a Florida girl through and through, and so this is kind of where I belong. It's my happy place here at the beach. So
I'm going to the place where I'm like, if I swallow a bunch of seawater, it's got salt in it. Doesn't that disinfect me? That's good. I mean, it works in my brain. I'm not a doctor, but
right. It's just a natural way to cleanse you out.
Natural way to cleanse. Swallow a bunch of avoid the seaweed, but that actually that, right? I wouldn't suggest eating a lot of local Florida seaweed, but hey.
There you go.
Yes. The opinions expressed by the host are not necessarily those of the station or its supporters. Before anybody says I told them to eat seaweed, Right. I did want to ask, obviously your job as Miss Florida is usually based around the attendance of events and promoting the pageant and the scholarship organizations through events and openings. It just seems like the last time I talked to you had 4 events that day, I believe.
Yes. Oh, it was crazy. I mean, it's been such a change and transition for everyone. But in my case, so much of my job is going into the schools. It's being at huge assemblies and going to big conference rooms and, just being with a lot of people all the time. And so when I heard that the state and the nation and the world really were shutting down, I knew that it was going to affect my job in every way possible. But the plus side of all of this is that I have really been able to still meet with so many students and title holders from all across the state virtually and do Zoom calls and social media appearances. And so that is definitely an upside in everything going virtual, is that because of the advancements in our technology, I've still been able to meet with all of these people. But I really do miss just hugging them and, holding someone's hand, meeting them in person. Nothing really compares to just an in-person meeting.
There's been a lot of extrapolation that we won't be a hugging society or handshaking society anymore, and I don't believe that. People are human. You've got, and while COVID has been tragic, I mean, nobody dismisses the loss of life. I just don't see culturally us changing that much. Once we have treatments and vaccinations, I really do see us going back. Even now, people are iffy. They still reach out for a handshake and have to pull it back. It's so natural. I don't see it. And I'm a hugger. I want to get the whole I mean, I did appropriate shoulder with the back pat, but
No, totally. I'm the same way. I mean, I think quarantine has shown me how much of a people person I am. And you have to have those times where you pull back and you refresh yourself. And alone time is actually really healthy, and we don't understand that. But I have maxed out on alone time. I'm like getting back in where everyone is. I mean, the first place that I really want to go to, it's honestly like a theme park, like Disney or something.
Yeah.
There's just going to be so many people. And yeah, I mean, you really do get to realize like what you prioritize the most when things are taken away from you. And I can honestly say, just being with people and being in big spaces actually brings me a lot of joy. So I miss it.
Too, is personal contact. Human contact is so important, and not just those that are close to us, but to create and build relationships. It's just part of our DNA. So I know that somehow, it might take a little while. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to happen in 2 weeks, but I just don't see this country having been so loving and so supporting of the world and each other, not embracing human contact when they get a chance to. But, on that subject, can you just give us a quick outline of how this played out? You didn't go from seeing a bunch of people one day to suddenly stuck in the house. How did this lay out, or maybe it did. Did this come in layers for you, or what did you see?
Yeah, it came in layers. So over time, I started to see more and more appearances kind of get off my schedule. And I have an app called Time Tree, and it shows all of my appearances for the day. And it's really overwhelming if you look at it all at once, because I have several different cities to even be in one day. And so when I started to see each event slowly but surely just completely disappear, I'm like, holy cow, like what is going on? Surely, these schools and these events, they want to take the right steps in making sure, the safety of both me and their students is their top priority. But it was crazy. It was over a couple of days, and then all of a sudden I'm looking at a full March and April to then nothing at all. And a lot of people can relate to this. March, April, and May are usually months where no one stops. Like you have graduation and end of the year parties, and I mean, just you're wrapping up the school year. It's so much all at once. And so I was looking at a month that was supposed to be the busiest couple weeks of my entire year as Miss Florida, to then looking at it, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with all this free time? So definitely a transition and kind of a lot to swallow all at once. But if the job of Miss Florida has taught or shown me anything, it is to be flexible and just to be willing and to, understand that there's going to be a lot of punches and you got to roll with them. And so that has what, these past couple of weeks have really shown me to an extreme.
I think our producer Jay was the first one that pointed out that, the one unifying thing of COVID is it has taught us all, everything from our kids and our high school graduates all the way up to the oldest of us, that sometimes life punches you in the face.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it. You can't change it. You can't fix it. All you can do is choose the proper way to deal with it. And we're seeing that across the country, right? And obviously you've dealt with it in a great way. We've seen the thing you said about being busy in the spring is so true, even in real estate, right? I mean, it's a very heavy listing and buying season, and typically it's very hard to get people to list and buy in July because they just come through all of this heavy, hectic kids. July really slows down, and of course, it's probably not going to be that way this year because we were shut down for 2 months. People are now going to have a sense of urgency. But I wanted to ask you, we just talked about choosing the right way to deal with it, and you've done some amazing things. Even though your events have been canceled, you have not been idle. And I could not confess that I spent the first 4 weeks actually working hard to be productive, but you did. It sounds like you didn't even skip a beat. Tell us about some of those projects.
Well, I'm gonna have to say I did have my days where I felt like I could barely get out of bed and I binge watched a Netflix show. So I have my days, but so I honestly saw quarantine and being home as just an immense opportunity to highlight the class of Miss Florida 2020 and all that they have been doing to maximize this time and impact their communities still from home. And so I created a campaign called Social Impacting While Social Distancing, and in that campaign, I got to highlight all of the local title holders across the state and how.
Okay, let me interrupt you. Slow down. I just want you to clarify something for the viewers who may not understand the system. You are Miss Florida 2019.
Yes.
So when you were talking about helping the title holders, it was the women that were supposed to be in the Miss Florida 2020 competition, correct?
Yes.
Pageant.
So
Okay.
Miss Florida. So actually, before quarantine and all this happened, I would be crowning Miss Florida 2020 come June, and then it got postponed to July, and then it got postponed to August, and now it is officially postponed until June 2021 of next year. So I am technically Miss Florida 2019 and Miss Florida. So
you're Miss Florida 2020 2.0.
Right, here we go. Here we go. So it is a little confusing to kind of track because I totally skipped a year, but yeah, it's really cool to see how the Miss Florida class of 2020 can still use all of this extra time until the competition next year to make a difference in their community and use their talents and abilities to simply be a positive role model. I mean, there's no better time than now to step up to the plate, be a leader in the midst of chaos, and really just take charge of what you can do in this time. You know, at the beginning of quarantine, I was just really upset of how much was taken away from me, but I think over time I got to see, like, wow, this is an incredible opportunity to be a leader and to make sure that the other girls feel included and still feel like they have a place in the midst of all of this. And so to go back from your question, I was able to create a YouTube page, and you can find it at Miss Florida Scholarship Competition. And on the YouTube are all of these different videos from the local title holders. And we have everything from a science experiment to learning the importance of music education, to learning how you can be a difference in your community by being a positive role model. And so it's all an incredible way for homeschooling moms, students at home, or even if you're just bored, to learn different tips and tricks from the incredible class of Miss Florida 2020. So I've been busy with that, and
now you told us about I think it was the woman from Homestead. You said that was a cool one. She did tell us about the one that
and she created her own video of how students at home can perform a science experiment with her. And so I think she's making either snow or dry ice, something in the video. You can go and watch it, and it's totally over my head because I'm more of an artist than I am a scientist. But it's just so cool. She breaks it down step by step, and all you need are all of the ingredients and materials, and you can literally do it right there at your house. So these are all just really intriguing educational videos that all ages can do. So I'm really proud of these girls and how they ran with my campaign.
Now tell us about how did you start the campaign? Was it simply, I mean, because did you advise these girls on making the videos? Did you give them ideas? I mean, were you coaching with each of them individually, or did you just set up a YouTube page and say, go at it?
Yeah, no, it was that are homeschooling their kids that didn't ask to be homeschooling moms, you know. So I wish we could help them out in some way, where whether they want to like go take a shower or like go make a snack for their kids, they can just put this video on, and their kids in the meantime will be able to learn something really valuable. So I created a YouTube channel, and then I sent out a mass email to all of the Miss Florida candidates and said, hey, I think this would be an incredible resource for all those that are home. And sure enough, they ran with it. 1 week later, I had so many videos to upload, and all the views started to increase as we shared the page more. So it was really a cool series of events to see how excited they got that I just gave them something to do in the midst of so much being taken away from them.
Completely cool, completely cool. I love what you said about a couple of days focused on what had been taken away from you. It says an awful lot about your character that, you know, that's the natural, right? When initial disappointment hits, we think about what we've lost. But I think that you have dealt with it, and obviously we're a couple months later. You know, you're not wallowing in that. You took some time to feel it, to process it, and then said to yourself, how can I help somebody else? When you put the focus on how you can touch another life, it just is the way to deal with things that are out of your control. I think it says a lot about your character and the place that you're going to go when this season of your life is over. Now, you did other projects, didn't you?
So I had one more project that I got to do, and it was the COVID card campaign.
Hang on, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna go to commercial break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about Michaela's other projects and some news and how the Miss Florida and Miss USA pageants are going to continue from this point forward. So don't go away. We'll be right back with Michaela McLean.
Life is better when you're smiling. At Modern Orthodontics, Dr. Alan Wong has changed thousands of lives, helping patients achieve the modern smile with braces and clear aligners. Utilizing digital scanning technology, Modern Orthodontics creates in-office 3D models for clearly modern aligners. Modern Orthodontics is conveniently located in Claremont, Apopka, and Bushnell. Call or text us to schedule your free exam and create your modern smile today.
50 West now pre-leasing 28,900 square feet of commercial, professional office space in Claremont. Conveniently located on Highway 50, less than 2 miles from the Turnpike. A first of its kind in the Southeast, this pristine building creates the perfect blend of nature and modern design. If you seek a high-level image that matches your business, reserve your space today. 50 West, unique, quality, Class A. For more information on leasing, contact Ashley Punn at 407-403-4165. Karen Arlano at 407-948-0767. Or visit lease@50west.com.
Welcome back. Look, if you are just now joining us, our guest today is Michaela McLean. She is the current Miss Florida USA. Actually, she was 2019. Now she is 2019 2.0, which means she will serve in that capacity for 2020. We're going to talk about how that happened and why. But we're in the midst of talking about some really cool projects that she did. So, Michaela, we just talked about the project you did for the current title holders to help homeschooling moms and just to be a leader in their communities. But you did some other projects too. Tell us about the card project.
Yes. So after we did the video campaign, I saw that there were still more of opportunities for the local title holders to make an impact, especially in the area of healthcare. And as we all know, healthcare workers are just working overtime, and a lot of them just need some encouragement and some positivity. I have some personal friends that are nurses at Health Central in Ocoee, as well as hospitals even on Long Island in New York, and they expressed their interest in having me just send a few cards just saying thank you for their service, and even to the patients, just get well and just congratulate, or not congratulate them, to just say like get well soon, and just like thinking and praying about them. But I saw how cool would it be if I got to send this opportunity to all of the Miss Florida class. And so when I sent it out to them, they created over like 300 to 500 cards, and now I had the chance to send these cards everywhere, like all across the state. I was initially only going to send them to 1 or 2 hospitals, and instead I had get well soon cards, and I had thank you notes from all these local title holders. And so that was a really cool campaign that took off as well. And now I'm getting, pictures and phone calls from nurses saying how much these cards bless the patients and bless the healthcare workers. And that's really what it was all about. So it was really cool to see how many title holders just were so appreciative of focusing on something other than themselves and saying, no, an opportunity that I can be a light in someone else's life, and they're struggling right now, and I'm not going to know who that person is, but even just saying, get well soon, I'm thinking and praying for you, can go a long way, especially in the midst of a pandemic.
Now, tell us about that. Did you have like the names and addresses of nurses, or did you write generic cards and sent them to the emergency room? How did that work? How did you do that?
We just wrote generic cards, but each title holder just said, from Miss Florida's outstanding teen, from Miss Orlando's outstanding teen, from Miss Jacksonville. And so it was really cool to see that, a patient in a COE can now open a Get Well Soon card and say, wow, Miss Miami's thinking about me, or Miss Tallahassee just, said that she's praying for me. That was a really cool part of it. But yeah, we kept them generic, and that was a really great idea, because then we were able to send them to different states as well.
Cool. Oh, so you didn't just do Florida. You sent them out across the nation.
We did. We got to send it to a hospital on Long Island in New York that had over 80 COVID patients.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a really cool opportunity.
Yeah. And what about any other projects? Did you do anything else? I mean, it's still...
Yeah, those were the two big ones that I got to include the Miss Florida class of 2020 in. But I've been very busy with just virtual appearances. I've been able to still read an Everglades book to elementary students. I've still been able to give presentations on the risks and realities of drug and alcohol abuse. So everything as my job as Miss Florida is still going on. It's just all via Zoom.
So tell me how those opportunities were those already events you had scheduled that you were able to adjust to virtual? I mean, was that something that you were guided by the Miss Florida team, or was that something that you had to kind of take a handle on?
So some were already on the books, and then some came up to me knowing that virtual could be actually easier for them. And they reached out after everything started to change, and they said, this is actually a great fit for my organization. I'd love to come have you speak via Zoom. This is easier that you don't have to be in person. So it really just depends on the situation. But a lot of it was either on the books, or they were interested in now what I could provide virtually.
Wow. Great news. And what about the future of Miss Florida, Miss USA? Obviously, it's hard. I mean, you are one of those events that I'm sure organizers thought, well, we can bring all the title holders together and not have an audience, but then you put how many people in a room? It's certainly going to be more than 10, even without an audience.
Absolutely. So, Miss America had to take the right steps in making sure that both the candidates as well as the audience, the judges, everyone that's involved, their priority is obviously safety and, their top health. And so we had to make sure that whenever the competition was happening, that we were able to still have the full competition, but also taking the right steps. And, Miss America is celebrating their 100th anniversary this year, and that's a huge competition. That is a huge date, and so I think they did the right thing by pushing it back to make sure that all the states were able to attend, because as you know, just because Florida is slowly opening up, that doesn't mean that other states are. There's still states total on full shutdown. So it's going to be really challenging to find sometime this year a date where all states could participate. So they postponed it to 2021, making me as the current title holder in this position a little longer. And so we're now postponing Miss Florida as well. And so these local title holders will have more time to prepare, more time to make an impact in their community. But I can't, dismiss the idea that it is disappointing and it is discouraging. These local title holders were really, really excited to compete in June or July of this year to go on to their next dream of competing at Miss America. So I'm really just thinking about them right now, even though I'm holding on to the title a little longer. I really just want to put them first. Like, this year is all about them, and it's not about me continuing the job. It's more so celebrating the class of 2020 and all the hard work that they're putting into making this dream come alive for them.
Now, I know that the pageant system is about scholarships. You know, and that's I think you told me that the pageant system is one of the largest scholarship generators for young women in America today.
Yeah.
Is that true? I mean, I did hear that from you, didn't I?
Yes, it is true. So the Miss America organization is the largest scholarship provider for young women. I'm able to actually graduate debt-free from a 4-year out-of-state university because of the scholarships that I earned through my participation in this organization. So, you know, these young women, they want to go for this title because they want to further their education, and we're completely breaking down the stereotype that we're a beauty pageant or that it's all about the physical appearance, because I have met the most intelligent, driven, accomplished young women in this organization. I mean, even our Miss America is a scientist, and she's a pharmacist from Virginia Tech. And it just goes to show, like, it's not about beauty. We are really emphasizing the intelligence and the intellect in every candidate. And that's why these young women participate. You know, they want to go the next step in their education. And so I really hope that we can continue to make that a priority for years to come, knowing that, you know, this is why we do what we do, is to continue using this as a stepping stone to move on.
Well, I think, too, I mean, perspective from an old guy is the evolution of the pageant system has been dictated by young women.
Yeah.
Who, you know, who wanted, you know, obviously you're pageant title holders, so you're beautiful, but you're not just beautiful. You know, that's not what defines you. It's only a part of your personality, a part of who you are as a person. Like you said, you know, the Virginia Tech scientist, and you're an accomplished artist, and I'm sure there are authors and musicians, and I think that the focus on public service has been very, very important too. So I have seen, you know, you say we're not just, but that's because you guys focused. The new generation came on, and the pageant had to evolve, because nobody would have watched it if it was just that. I did want to get back to a quick question about the scholarships. Now, I know that the scholarships are important for these title holders, many of whom were supposed to start school or finish school. Has there been some provision made for the scholarships that were supposed to happen, or are these young ladies done for a year and have to make other arrangements?
Yeah, so Miss America is definitely working out the ins and outs of the scholarship foundation and how that is going to apply for this next year, considering that there will not be a competition in 2020. However, when you win your local, your state, and even the job of Miss America, you win a good portion of scholarship. And so for me, I still have that scholarship. It's still available to me, and it's applying to all my student loans. But unfortunately, because we're not having a competition this year, there won't be scholarship provided, because it is now being held on to the year for 2021. So, you know, these young women still have an opportunity to gain it in 2021, and I'm hoping that we can increase our scholarship fund so that they can win even more money as they're waiting a year.
And nobody is losing their title because they have to wait a year. It's they basically, just like you, get another year to have that, to own that title, correct?
Exactly, correct. And so, you know, it is their decision if they want to keep it for another year, or say, like, they decided to move in the fall, or they were going out of state and they can't uphold all those responsibilities, then they can give it up. And in that case, they would give it to the first runner-up.
Michaela, thank you so much. This has been very, very informative, and again, I think a perfect example of how we should all react to this. If we were all reacting to this in looking at serving others, then we would be far less struggling the way we are now. So thank you so much for your work in the community. Do you have any final thoughts? Anything you'd like to leave us with? Anything else you'd like to tell us about before we close?
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. Just to go off what you recently said, you know, I think in this time we can so easily focus on everything that's been taken away from us, the jobs and income, you know, social life, full agenda. But I don't know, I feel like even just in the 6 to 8 weeks that I've been in quarantine, it's really shown me that it's not about having all those things. Instead, it's prioritizing actually the simple things in life, which is just family and, you know, being in good health and being around people that matter the most to you. And so if you're in that position, really just cherish the small and little things, because I think it's so easy to focus on what's been taken away. But at the end of the day, when you focus on what you still do have, it really will bless you for years to come. So.
Great. Again, it's been wonderful having you. You're a great guest. I look forward to seeing you again and bringing you back on down the road, and we can get some updates about what's going on in your life. So,
thank you so much, Joe, for having me. I appreciate it.
No sweat. Hey, we're going to go to commercial break. When we come back, Joe's final thoughts and the Cup of Joe for today. We'll see you in a minute.
Burgerum, located in the Epic Theater Shopping Plaza on Highway 27, is the premier destination for gourmet burgers. Using only the freshest ingredients, Burgerum offers a variety of burgers, salads, wings, and a whole lot more. Beef, chicken, lamb, fish, and even veggie. Burgerum has something for everyone, no matter your dietary preference. Burgerum, millions of possibilities, endless combinations.
Hello, my name is Michael Singh with Singh Insurance and Financial Services. Our goal is to build trust based on a clear understanding of how your insurance policy protects you, your family, and even your business. When was the last time you took a good hard look at your insurance coverage? Would you be open to the possibility of reviewing your policy with me? One review of your policy can save you valuable time and money. Call me today to set up a review of what may be available to you.
And welcome back. Look, I love having Michaela McLean on, just because she is really an example of young American womanhood today. You know, she is so sweet. She is guided by her faith and her character. She accomplishes things through work and service to others, not through what the stereotypical image is of young womanhood in America today. So, and that's why I like having guests like Michaela, because it goes against the cliches that media tries to present to us. So just like she has done, I would hope that you would follow her example. Try to focus a little less on what you've lost and focus a little more on what you can bring to others, the light that you can shine into another life. And it's really the best way to deal with this. And that actually brings me to the Cup of Joe. Okay, I'm very political. I will admit it. And in all honesty, you know, you don't know me very long without knowing I lean extremely right. Okay, I would not call myself a Republican nor a conservative, but I am on the right side of the aisle, as opposed to left, not necessarily correct. That's an important distinction. When I look at the news today, I understand it's natural to be afraid. You know, I think that Winston Churchill, was it Winston Churchill? It was either Winston Churchill or FDR. Maybe it was FDR. Said, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself." You know, that is such a truism, it's not even funny, especially at this time in our lives, okay? Do not get sucked in by the general media. Do not get sucked in by anything you read in the newspaper or see on television. You have to operate out of a sense of accomplishment, not a sense of fear. Look, when I look at America, it was not the people that stayed in Europe because the trip was dangerous, and back in the colonial days, because the trip was dangerous, these people gave up everything they had to come here, to take a risk, to find something new. They were not guided by fear. They were guided by faith and opportunity. If you fast forward, it was not the people, the great industrialists did not create great industries operating out of fear. They operated out of opportunity. The people that paved the way west to California did not stay where they were in the eastern states. They moved forward, even though it made more sense. It was more practical to stay where they were, to not take a chance on the desert and lack of water and Native Americans, hostile Native Americans and hostile bandits, and going across the country in a Conestoga wagon pulled by an ox? Get serious. But they're the people that are remembered. We don't remember the people that stayed in Missouri or Iowa or Alabama, or Ohio. We remember the people that pushed west. We remember the mountain men. We remember the guys that made man walk on the moon. Let's be a generation that's remembered, not because of our fear, but because of our faith and willingness to act, not because of danger, but in spite of it. That's the Cup of Joe for today. Thank you for letting me share my opinion. If you'd like to disagree with me, don't contact Jay or the station. Reach out to me at at 1joeknows@gmail.com, or you can call me at 352-360-8387. I would love to sit with you and have a cup of coffee in an outside cafe where we can distance ourselves and have a discussion. All right, enough said on that. Thank you for joining us today. Michaela was a great guest. If you know somebody that should be a guest on Joe Knows South Lake, I'm sure Jay is going to put up the information. I just really want to encourage you. I am constantly looking for guests and show ideas. Very, very open to almost anything. Please, please, please reach out. Finally, as Michaela is doing, using her greatness to bring out the greatness in others, I would encourage you. Use your greatness. And yes, there is greatness inside you to bring out the greatness in others. As Michaela has done, touching other lives. You can touch a life and change the world. You may never see the change, but it will change nonetheless. This has been Joe Carlisle and Michaela McLean on Joe Knows South Lake. I will see you tomorrow, and I love you. Bye-bye.
My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe Knows South Lake.